Okay, so after a lot of mystery, clues left in a week-long manhunt, police have finally arrested a suspect in the murder of UnitedHealth CEO Brian Thompson. This is 26-year-old Luigi Mangione, and on the surface, he's a smart young guy who comes from a wealthy family and went to an elite all-boys private school and was top of his class. Yeah, I know, the opposite profile of someone who you'd imagine to buy a gun and then carry out such a high-profile you-know-what. But as soon as police made his ID publicly available, the internet, being the internet, has scoured through every tiny piece of this guy's existence on the internet, and it turns out there's a lot more to him than what appears on the surface. His friends claiming that he disappeared months before the attack, the fact that he had pretty major back surgery, and even down to quotes that he liked from books he read on Goodreads. His Goodreads account, they got to that too. And there's even more interesting details coming from things that are not online, because CNN report that when he was in court, he suggested that the cash that police found on him when they arrested him may have been planted. So yeah, a lot to get into. So subscribe so we hit 500k before the end of the year. And without further ado, let's get rockin'! Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know, let's do a really brief, quick timeline of events that led up to this. And keep in mind, Luigi has not been found guilty of anything yet. So all of the following is alleged and what he's being accused of only. So on November the 24th, a whole 10 days before the actual shooting took place, Luigi allegedly arrives in New York City via a bus from Atlanta, Georgia. He checks into a hostel and begins scouting the Hilton Midtown Hotel, where the victim, Brian Thompson, the CEO of the 16th most valuable company on the entire planet, stays quite frequently. On December the 4th, the morning of the shooting, Luigi is seen leaving the hostel early in the morning and traveling on an e-bike. He purchases coffee and water near the Hilton Midtown Hotel. That's the Starbucks, apparently. And that's also where they got that picture of him where he removes his mask and apparently flirts with, I guess, someone behind the counter. Then at approximately 6:44 a.m., Brian Thompson is shot multiple times outside the hotel. Surveillance footage shows what police believe to be Luigi manually cycling the pistol after it appears to jam. Police say that Luigi then flees on an e-bike into Central Park and then later takes a taxi to the bus station. Now, at this point, as we all know, a huge manhunt is launched, and at the crime scene, police find what are believed to be the first clues that the gunman intentionally left, which were the words delay, deny, and depose carved into the bullet shells. Now, investigators use this as the first clue into a motive, linking those words to the book Delay, Deny, Defend: Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay for Claims and What You Can Do About It. Now, books are going to be a pretty big theme of this video, as you'll see later. They then say that they found his backpack in Central Park and inside was a jacket and Monopoly money. Still don't really know what the whole Monopoly money thing is. It's got to be something, right? Some clue, because we're not just casually packing Monopoly money in our bags before we just nip out the house, are we? No one's doing that. Anyway, fast forward to yesterday, the 9th of December, he was found and arrested, and this is the part where it starts to get wild. So, according to reports, he was sat there chilling on his laptop at McDonald's in Pennsylvania, which is hundreds of miles away from New York. A customer then somehow recognizes him from the pictures which are all over the news. But these pictures are like pretty grainy, only see his eyes, so it's a pretty wild one. And I mean, to call the police based off of just that, it's a pretty ballsy move. I feel like it's very American, I'm not gonna lie. Because I'll be honest, if that was me, I would be second guessing the hell out of just myself, let alone having the freaking confidence to call police on someone. I mean, just imagine how awkward that would be if it was the wrong person. Anyway, so the cops show up eventually and they approach him and they ask him if he's been to New York recently, at which point reports say that he starts shaking, like visibly shaking. They then ask him to pull down his mask, and then apparently as soon as he does pull it down, the officers immediately believe it's him. So when they search him, they apparently find a 3D printed pistol, a silencer, a fake ID, a passport, $8,000 of USD cash, and $2,000 in foreign currency. Don't know what the nationality of that currency is. I would like to know though.
I go to Uzbekistan or stay here? Say that one more time?
Now, here's where things get even more interesting. So they arrest him, and a few hours later, he has his first court appearance. And here's what CNN had to say about his time in the court.
One of the most interesting parts of that particular hearing was actually his statements after the conversation about bail. The prosecutors basically stepped up there and made the case why they believe that this man should be held without bail. Prosecutors noted that they found him with $8,000 in U.S. cash, $2,000 in foreign currency, his passport, and also a Faraday bag, which is basically a bag designed to stop transmission of cell service. Luigi Mangione said, I actually want to address two of the things that you said. He said, I don't know where that money came from. I'm not sure if it was planted. And then he also said that that bag was waterproof. And the term that the prosecutors used when discussing the Faraday bag, the ghost guns, the 3D printed silencer, was the prosecutors used a phrase saying this is criminal sophistication. Luigi Mangione said, I don't know about any of this criminal sophistication when addressing that.
Yeah, interesting. But, I mean, as you'll see in a second, he's clearly a very smart guy. And so maybe by saying that, he was trying to distance himself away from these items, because these items in specific would make him a flight risk and he wouldn't be given bond. I mean, either way, after this, he wasn't given bond anyway. But suggesting things like it could have been planted, yeah, that sent the internet off. And you'll realize why the internet plays a big factor in this, because let's get into what do we know about who he was, who he is currently. And I'm gonna churn through these things, all right? Firstly, let's start off with his Twitter, because he started off at around 500 followers. He now has like 300,000 plus. Yeah, and it feels weird to, say this because obviously he's being accused of murder right now. But man, the amount of support that this guy is getting on the internet right now is pretty crazy. Just go into any of my comments, or anyone's comments on this, in fact. They're all defending him, saying like, oh no, bro was at my house at the time of the murder, it wasn't him. And even, and I'm gonna give the links to Alex now of the ones that I've seen, TikTok edits. TikTok edits have started already. Alex, don't play the music, it'll get copyrighted. But you're seeing what's going on, and crazy. Yeah, well, it's the internet, isn't it? Anyway, he went to an Ivy League college, and for anyone that's not American, that's basically colleges that are highly prestigious and associated with academic excellence, highly selective admission, and social elitism. I had to write that down because not American. Basically like the Harvards, the Yales, we all get it when you put it that way. The senior speech that he gave when he was graduating were on topics ranging from conscious artificial intelligence to human immortality. He holds both a master's and a bachelor's degree in computer science. On his Twitter, he would post a lot about the problems of anxiety, depression, mental health illness, although he did say in court to the judge that there was no mental illnesses that he had that the court should be aware of. Another thing to know about him is that he reads a lot. On his Goodreads account, he had 295 books listed. And these were not just like Harry Potter and stuff like that. These were intense books. People even found a review that he wrote on the book Industrial Society and Its Future. Yeah, you catch the drift? Anyway, they highlighted a couple of interesting sentences he wrote. When all other forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive. These companies don't care about you or your kids or your grandkids. They have zero qualms about burning down the planet for a buck, so why should we have any qualms about burning them down to survive? Violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators. Now, as I mentioned briefly before, police said they did find a manifesto, and while the whole thing hasn't been made public, at least officially, because I've seen things scattered around. I don't know if they're real though, so I didn't think of bringing them forward on here. But police sources do say that the following line is in it. These parasites had it coming. I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. The banner on his profile on Twitter included an X-ray image of a person's lower back with what appears to be these screws and plates inserted into it. Now, this picture, along with his friends saying that he did have major back surgery, leads us to believe that this picture probably is his. And this is also consistent with what his friends who went to high school with Luigi said about him. One said, what keeps coming up is a back surgery that changed everything for him, and he went absolutely crazy. And if this picture of his back is actually him, then he clearly has some experience with the healthcare system. And if you've been through that and you're American, then you would also have experience with healthcare insurance providers like UnitedHealth. There's also this post from a friend tagging him saying, "Hey man, you need to call me. I don't know if you're okay or just in a super isolated place and have no service, but I haven't heard from you in months. You've made commitments to me for my wedding, and if you can't honor them, then I need to know so I can plan accordingly." Now, it's important to know there's a few other mentions of him disappearing from these people that claim to be his friends, and they're essentially saying things that suggest that he kind of just went off the map a couple of months before this shooting. There's a meme coin called Luigi, and it's already hit a staggering $24 million market cap. Anything that happens, there's a meme coin. And then finally, the phrase "Mama, I'm in love with a criminal" is now trending on Twitter with pictures of Luigi, which I think is apparently a Britney Spears song or a phrase from it. I don't know. And now, obviously, as you can see from this, there's a lot of people that are, glazing Luigi. And I think that's a combination of the fact that he's obviously good looking, but then also people have had very bad experiences with insurers, the healthcare system in America. So obviously the internet is painting him as a hero, but to that sentiment, this is what police had to say.
This killer is being hailed as a hero. Hear me on this. He is no hero. The real hero in this story is the person who called 911 at McDonald's this morning.
With all that being said, that's pretty much everything, the main points that we know about him, at least as of right now, but things are moving rapidly. So make sure to follow my TikTok, Instagram, that's where the breaking news will happen first, or just subscribe and then wait for the big old news roundups that come on. Either way, I'll be seeing you soon. Love ya. See you in the next one. Woo!